Hello, and welcome to this NewForge webinar. My name is Katie, and I will be your Global Spec moderator. Now I would like to introduce today's presenter. With us today is Javier Ortiz. Javier is the co-founder at NewForge. To read more about our presenter today, please look at that speaker bio window right next to the main presentation window. And with that, I'd like to pass things along to Javier to get us started. So go right ahead.
Welcome everyone to the webinar. I'm Javier. I'm a co-founder and the head geek here at NewForge. I've been in the manufacturing industry over 25 years. I actually started out in maintenance and engineering, fixing and maintaining equipment, doing calibrations, really working on the plant floor with all the different types of equipment, even doing startup validations. Around 12 years ago, we actually started NewForge, and we focused on automation and manufacturing execution systems, MES, for the first 7 or 8 years of being in business. We had a lot of success because we always did our best to do the proper research and find technology solutions that delivered instant value. So around 6 years ago, we actually found or discovered assisted reality and augmented reality. And that's really what we've been focusing on over the last 6 years. So basically, today we're going to talk about unlocking the potential of assisted reality. We're going to get into exactly what we think the biggest problem is in manufacturing industry and how you can benefit from this type of technology. So let's get into it. So what is assisted reality? Assisted reality, by definition, is a technology that combines the real world with computer-generated sensory input to enhance the user's experience. Additionally, assisted reality really allows us to use all our senses. So being able to view a set of instructions or a video or a manual on a screen, on the smart glass, but then also being able to interact with those instructions with our voice. So what does that mean for our manufacturing maintenance technician? Imagine being able to view a full set of instructions in your line of sight and being able to follow those instructions and interact with them with your voice. So when you need the next instruction, you say next, or if you need to zoom in, you say zoom in or zoom out. And really gives you the ability to follow those instructions step by step while remaining hands-free. That's what assisted reality can do in the manufacturing industry. Additionally, imagine being able to talk to someone and they can see everything that you can see, even though they might be remote, they might be very far away. And basically having an experienced senior person looking over your shoulder, making sure that everything is being done correctly. That's what assisted reality is in the manufacturing industry. But what is the biggest issue or the biggest problem that we see in the manufacturing industry today, especially around maintenance and reliability? Well, everyone knows the biggest issue is the lack of equipment knowledge, where it's needed at the time it's needed. That usually results in downtime. So what? So what's downtime? Well, it's costing us an average of $22,000 per minute of downtime costs. So that means that for every minute that a plant is down or a line is down, on average is $22,000. Now, a lot of you might think, oh, it's a lot higher at our facility. And some of you might say it's a little bit lower, but on average, it's right around $22,000, which is significant. Most facilities in the nation are experiencing around 800 hours per year of average downtime. Now, the issue is that we have typically a very long wait for support. Someone has to travel, someone has to actually make time to come help us, and that's really ultimately the issue that we're being faced with. Ultimately, we're talking about losing customers. Being down and not having the correct capacity or not being able to fulfill your customer orders or demand usually results in penalties and revenue loss. How are we addressing this issue of lack of knowledge? Through surveys, we find out that around 75% of the manufacturing firms in North America are actually going ahead with capital equipment and automation initiatives. That basically means that the answer currently to the lack of knowledge issue is to implement more equipment on the plant floor and more automation. Additionally, about 3.5 million skilled manufacturing workers, many of which are maintenance and reliability folks, are actually set to retire over the next decade. So this is what we're calling the perfect storm. We're adding equipment, we're adding automation initiatives, and then we're also reducing the number of people that can work on that automation, that can work on that equipment. And this is what we call the perfect storm. So now let's talk about the practical applications of assisted reality. What does it look like when we apply this type of technology to our use cases? So on the left-hand side, we have two use cases that are in field service, basically being outside the four walls of your facility. On the right side, we have two other use cases that are within the four walls of the facility. So let's take a look. So in this particular case, we have basically a truck driver. What we see here on the lower right-hand side of your screen is actually what he is looking at inside the smart glasses. So the first thing that he did was identify the truck with a serial number. He scanned that QR code. That is the serial number of the truck, and that's what we're going to match everything against and document that it's being done properly. In this case, the first check is to check the regulator to make sure that the tractor that is located in tractor door. He replies with his voice, documents are missing. He goes to the next step to check the fire extinguisher. And in this case, he's basically just talking to the device. So he checks it, he says it's expired, and it moves on to the next step. So with assisted reality and with smart glasses, we can accurately document back to our system of this particular inspection by having a person that's not used to doing this type of work simply follow the instructions that they see on the glasses themselves and answer with their own voice. So that's one example. Another example is when we talk about smart glasses, we really a lot of times talk about what we can do when we remain hands-free. And a lot of times we really focus on productivity, but in this particular case, it's also about safety. So in this particular case, she is actually following the instructions that you see there on the lower left-hand side. And the very first check it does is to make sure that there's no voltage present. And that's the check that she's doing before she can actually ascend to the panel. Now, once she gets there, she has an issue. She's trying to follow the instructions. She has an issue, and now she says, call support. In this case, the gentleman's sitting back at the office, and he can see everything that she is seeing through the smart glass. And that way, they can together troubleshoot the issue. In this case, where she was indicated to make a connection was already occupied by another customer. So he is going to see what she's looking at, check his systems and say, hey, go ahead and remove that. He actually draws that on his screen. Remove this one right here. And this is where I want you to place your new connection. So again, the idea is that they can collaborate, they can talk with each other, he can share content, he can circle on her screen so it's on her line of view so she knows exactly what we're talking about when it comes to being able to fix this, and there's zero or very little chance of error when it comes to the actual repair. So now let's get into what we can do within the four walls. So the first thing that we're going to do is actually just make a comparison. If we have an inspection that we're completing and we have to go back and forth between the piece that we're inspecting and the piece that we are actually, and the system that we're actually documenting, how does that compare to doing everything with smart glasses, with our voice, and being hands-free? So on the upper left-hand side, you have a typical procedure. The person is on the computer following the instructions. He gets up, he takes some measurements of the piece, and then goes back and enters those values on the actual computer. On the lower right-hand side, we have the person doing the exact same procedure, except that he's doing it with smart glasses. So he's following an instruction. The instruction says, measure the inner diameter, and that's what he does. And he's speaking his results. And then that's how we're documenting the information. So on the upper left-hand side, you see there what he is looking at. He's looking at instructions, and he's making the measurement, and then he's speaking his results. In this case, he's actually using a RealWear HMT1. That's the device there. But one of the things that we were able to do with this, with the smart glasses and remaining hands-free, is decrease the completion time by 41%. Another thing that we can do inside the plant floor, which is particular to maintenance, is being able to fix a piece of equipment that's malfunctioning. So in this case, we're going to put on the worker, the maintenance worker is actually putting on the RealWear HMT1. He's going to say, call support. The expert is going to answer. And this expert that you see there on the lower left-hand side is basically far away. It's someplace else. And he's looking through the glasses. That picture on the upper left-hand side is actually what he's looking at. So the first thing that they diagnose is that there's a fault. And he says, well, it looks like the fault might be some kind of interference that's in your filtering system. So let's take a look. And again, the expert can see everything that the operator or the maintenance worker can see. And it's basically telling him, hey, it looks like you do have some debris there. Let's go ahead and clear that out. Now walk over to the front of the machine, in front of the Sortex, and make sure that the fault has been cleared. And that way they can together collaborate and get it up and running again. The expert can, of course, also share a manual, share CAD, share anything that he's got on his desktop to be able to solve that problem. The most recognizable part of an assisted reality implementation is the hardware. Now, if you start looking at the industry as a whole, there's a lot of different devices out here. These are just a few of them. Some of these devices have better camera than others. Some of the other ones are a little bit more expensive than others, and some others even lend themselves better for the manufacturing industry than others. Some of the other ones, the form factor itself is not perfect because you have to be tethered, or maybe the battery isn't great. So ultimately, that really kind of leaves us with just a handful of devices that are perfect for the manufacturing industry. Now, some of these devices are what we call kind of the Iron Man style experience, which is typically not allowed on the manufacturing floor. So that leaves us with a couple of monocular devices that we use on a regular basis. Likewise, for software, there's a lot of different companies out there offering great assisted reality suites. And just like the hardware, there are some that are made specifically for manufacturing and others that are not. There are yet others that are easier to use than some other ones. And then, cost is also sometimes prohibitive. And basically, it kind of leaves us with a handful of assisted reality software suites that we can actually use. So when it comes to the entire industry, as you see all the different hardware and software, we actually have done a lot of research over the last few years. And ultimately, it's really all about the knowledge and the skill. That's actually what's missing in the industry. So using assisted reality to support maintenance staff, what would that look like? So oftentimes, the issue that we have in maintenance is that we are unable to solve the issue quickly enough because of the lack of knowledge. We simply do not have the manual, we simply do not have the correct work instructions, or they are incomplete, or we don't have an expert that's readily available for us to help us. So assisted reality helps us by bridging that gap. And that is exactly what the Knowledge Place is doing. Using assisted reality in this context really reduces your need for specialized experts. So that means that if I'm a great wrench turner with the correct support from the correct people, I can get everything done that I need. And therefore, basically, lower my mean time to repair, increase my efficiency and my effectiveness, and get everything up and running properly and very quickly. So how does it work? I keep referring to the core of the problem. So the core at the center here, you'll have the knowledge place. This is a unified platform where experts from different vendors and different types of equipment can come together and offer their services to the people that need it the most, which are the maintenance technicians on the plant floor. And it works like this. So on the left, we have the knowledge capture. So that's one central database, central repository where these common work instructions and the experts are found. You go to one place to find expertise from all types of equipment and find work instructions to complete all types of procedures. We can also, on the right side, use that information for training. So maybe we don't want to necessarily use it for predictive maintenance, or preventive maintenance procedures or work instructions, but we do want to use it for training. So we can use the same content and the same experts that are available to us as training tools. And then, of course, at the bottom, we can instruct, we can inspect, we can have safety inspection, or we can create maintenance instructions, calibration instructions, all of that. Ultimately, the knowledge place is that collaborative core that delivers on-demand, instant expertise to where you need it. So for you to leverage the assisted reality in your own operations, it's very simple. We want to give you access to the marketplace of those experts. That's going to allow you to connect to maintenance, your maintenance staff, to the experts, and be able to bring those together so you can collaborate. It's going to provide that assisted reality technology for remote assistance without having to get into the details of which hardware do I choose, which software do I choose, how do I deploy this properly, because all of those things have already been done. We've already went through the painstaking work of figuring these things out for you. And it's ultimately going to allow you as the end user, as the maintenance personnel, to access a broader pool of experts. That's going to allow you in general to reduce your costs because we're reducing the need for travel. And it's ultimately going to improve productivity, improve your facility's production, and basically you're able to save money for the facility. So how does this work for the end user? Getting started is very easy. You first create an account as a maintenance technician, maintenance personnel. You get on the platform and you search for a piece of equipment. So for example, let's say that you're looking for a Buhler Aeroglide dryer. Those are the terms that you put in. And then based on those terms, you will find these are the work instructions on the platform that are available to you, and these are the experts on the platform that are available to you. And you basically make an appointment. So let's take a quick peek of how the platform works. So right now I am logged in as a manufacturing maintenance technician. So when I have a problem, I'm going to go to the site. I'm going to search for a specific type of equipment, like in this case it's bulk packaging, or I can search for a type of, or a brand name or a model number. And I'm actually going to be able to see all the different qualified experts that are available to me and how much they're charging. I can then choose the right person that I want to take a look at. I can look at their profile, look at their reviews, look at their skills and expertise, and basically look at their entire resume. And then based on their schedule, I can choose a time that they are available so I can make my request. Once I find the person that I'm looking for and review their profile, I can then send additional details about the issue that I might be having, and I'm going to request that appointment with them. As an expert, it's a similar process. The first step is to request to become an expert. Now, the bad news is that not everyone gets to become an expert on the platform. It is really by invite only, but you can also request to become an expert. You then go on the platform and complete your profile. This is the part where you are uploading your certifications. and basically creating a CV or a resume of the work that you've done throughout the years. And then you start earning through the platform. So basically what this means for you as an expert is that the platform pays you to share your expertise with customers that you don't currently have. So let's take a look at what it looks like for the expert. Once I've requested to be on the platform and I've been approved, I can then fill out my profile. I'm going to fill out my basic information. I'm going to upload my professional insurance, and I'm going to fill out my skills and expertise, including uploading any certifications that I might have. I'm also going to fill out what my working hours are. So what times am I available for live calls? As an expert, I also have access to my revenue report. So this is how much I am earning on the platform over the last 20 days, 30 days, weeks, or months. I can also fill out service reports for each customer and invoice them directly on the platform. So if you are a field service organization, this is a massive competitive advantage over everybody else. It's going to improve your response times, but basically being able to be there for your customers like never before using assisted reality. It's going to increase the customer satisfaction because now your customers know that they are the first thing that comes to mind. And it's going to increase your brand loyalty because the customers know that you're using the latest and greatest technology to help them in their time of need. On-demand access to information basically gives us the massive potential to unlock a wealth of knowledge and expertise. Meaning, if I am a great wrench turner and I'm a junior person, I can now have the experience and the knowledge of somebody much senior to me. And I can identify and solve my equipment problems using assisted reality because it's given me access to that knowledge and expertise. That's going to allow me to increase efficiency, reduce downtime, reduce the mean time to repair, and overall improve my productivity and improve my plant's output and capacity. So what does assisted reality look like when we deploy it? Well, basically, it gives you access to higher profit margins and employee retention. So in this particular case, the travel budget for the engineers to be traveling to customer sites was reduced by 55%. That they actually added a revenue stream that they didn't have before by offering their end customers assisted reality as a service. They gained a massive competitive advantage over their competition and also reduced our carbon footprint. So this particular company had or has a goal to be carbon neutral by 2025, and the traveling was a big part of that. And they're well on their way to reaching that goal in 2025 because of this program. They also increased their customer satisfaction KPIs by 22%. And interestingly enough, they also were able to retain critical employees. So as engineers, as field service engineers, we oftentimes travel a lot. And that means that sometimes work-life balance isn't the best. And with this type of service, with assisted reality and being able to service our customers remotely, we were able to achieve a work-life balance for these folk. Additionally, with work instructions, with assisted reality work instructions, we're able to enhance our quality documentation. We are basically using the smart glasses to provide evidence of what we're doing and inspecting. So we're faster because we're using our voice, but we're also using images, videos, audio, and all kinds of things that are available to us to collect evidence on our inspection or the state of something. And in this particular case, we actually trained the workers on the wearable device and basically gave them the device to say, hey, now you go follow these instructions and run through them and get the job done. and they were able to see a 41% reduction in completion time compared to not using assisted reality. So again, the solution is the expert knowledge place. The number one problem that we're having in the manufacturing industry is the lack of expert knowledge where the knowledge is needed at the time that it's needed. So we put together a marketplace where an expert can make themselves available to help you on demand. Additionally, they can also create assisted reality work instructions that a maintenance person can run offline and do a combination of both things, having work instructions and having somebody assist them live on demand. So from the expert's point of view, I can get on the platform and I can earn remotely by creating content and making myself and my expertise available to the end user. From the facility's point of view, I'm saving massive amounts of money and I'm increasing all my customer satisfaction KPIs and basically doing more with less. So I can have one or two really good wrench turners that are learning on the job on how to become these experts. So the marketplace, what we're calling the knowledge place, is basically like an Angie's List on steroids that is specifically designed for manufacturing facilities to create work, to create work instructions and allow people to access their experts on demand. So those experts, by the way, if you already have an expert and that expert is across the country, you can send them a link to assist you. You can wear your smart glasses and they, through their PC or through their mobile device or through their tablet, can see everything that you're seeing and they can help you. However, if you don't have that expert already, you get on the platform and you search and find that expert. So it works both ways, whether or not you currently have those experts available to you. And ultimately, it's about fixing it. It's about using assisted reality and the knowledge from the knowledge place to get your equipment up and running quickly. So that is what we put together with NewForge Knowledge Place. Again, it's addressing that specific problem of the lack of knowledge. And I saw some questions coming in, so we can take questions now.
All right, Javier, thank you so much for that great presentation. So we do have some questions that have come in from our attendees, and we are going to move into answering those right now. All right, Javier, our first question today: how complex is the setup process for the hardware on site? Any issues with using the smart glasses?
This is a really good question. It's something that comes up quite a bit. So setting up hardware on site is very much like setting up a cell phone or a tablet. So most of the smart glasses are Android-based smart glasses, and setting up the smart glass usually is only about setting it up on your Wi-Fi. So if you have specific IT restrictions when it comes to Wi-Fi and what can and can't be on your local network, what we usually do is get ahead of that issue by sending you the requirements that IT would typically ask for to determine whether or not your smart glass can be on there. So that's one of the things that we do. And in terms of issues with that, usually it's really, again, all about the IT regulations. If you don't have that type of regulation, really you shouldn't have any issues with getting those smart glasses on the Wi-Fi.
All right, great. Thank you so much for that answer. All right, next question here. How do you ensure that the information and training resources provided through assisted reality are accurate and up to date?
Yes, very good question. Okay, so basically, as an expert, first of all, and I think I mentioned this before, to become an expert on the platform, you have to request to become an expert, unless you've got an invite, and we only actually sent invites to specific people that we know that are experts. So if you didn't get one of those invites, basically you request to become an expert, you are going to upload your certifications so we can view them and everyone else can view them as well. You also upload your insurance information, and basically we look at that entire profile and it goes through kind of a peer review, if you want to call it that. And then based on that information that we gather, we decide, okay, this person can become an expert right away, or we put you on a path to become an expert in the very near future. And that's really how we ensure that the expertise on the knowledge place is accurate and it's being provided with people that are trustworthy. Next question.
All right, great. Thank you so much for that answer. All right, let me find our next one here. Okay, this person is asking, how can I use the platform to generate revenue? Do you share successful commercial implementations?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So let's take the two questions there. Okay. How can I use the platform to generate revenue? So I'm assuming you're an expert. So if you're an expert in a specific type of equipment, you are going to create a profile on the platform. You are going to upload your certification, upload your insurance. And once you are approved to become an expert, the platform actually pays you. So if I'm an end user, I'm a maintenance personnel on the plant floor, I need help with a piece of equipment that you are an expert on, I'm going to go to the site, I'm going to search and find you, and then the platform is going to charge me as the end user, as that maintenance personnel that's consuming your content, and they're going to pay you for that use. So if you are live, if it's live support, you're going to get paid for that time. And if it's content that you've created, you're going to be paid as the end user, as that maintenance personnel rents those work instructions. So, and then the second part, do you share successful commercial implementations? We can share a lot of the information. We typically don't share names of companies, but yes, there are machine builders and OEMs on the platform right now that have very successful commercial implementations, where actually assisted reality and the platform is a big part of what they do to generate revenue. And we can definitely help you with ideas on how to do that properly, and how to promote that with to your customers, to your current customers, or if you're looking for new customers that you maybe don't have or are looking to expand into other areas, we can help with that as well. So we basically have a program on how to build this business, how to build assisted reality as a service, as a business, to increase your own revenue and your sales by providing a much needed service of expertise in certain types of manufacturing equipment. So we're very happy to help you with that.
All right, next question. Can you discuss any potential challenges or limitations of implementing assisted reality in manufacturing environments, such as cost or worker training requirements?
Great. Okay. Yes. So I mentioned before about the Wi-Fi, right? That is definitely a challenge. So there's two types of challenges. One is a technology challenge, which is your IT department saying, hey, I need to get, X or Y or Z type of information before I allow your smart glass to be on the local network. So that's one. And again, the idea is to be able to get ahead of that issue by providing the information ahead of time. And there's also the type of challenge that is more about change management. So the other types of issues that we see are simply people saying, I don't know what a smart glass is, but whatever it is, I am not putting it on my head, right? So, and it's really a matter of becoming familiar with the smart glass. We've had issues where, the people that need to use the smart glass really don't want to initially, but it turns out that after 5 or 10 minutes of training and they become familiar with the devices and they see how easy it is, and more importantly, they see the benefit that they can bring to them, they become our champion, right? So that's something that is really a matter of change management and a matter of becoming familiar with the hardware and the software and how everything works. And then the second part of that is, if we see challenges when it comes to costs, well, we were before, not anymore. The way that we see the implementation through the knowledge place is very cost efficient. It's very efficient in general when it comes to training. When it comes to the actual cost, it's very inexpensive. And again, we're happy to share that information with you after the call, or you can reach out to us at any time. Next question.
All right, just a reminder for the attendees, if you have a question today, go ahead and place it into the Q&A window and click submit. If you don't hear your question being answered today, do not worry. We will reach out to you following today's webinar. All right, Javier, the next one here. How does the use of assisted reality affect worker job satisfaction and engagement? Have you seen any improvements in these areas in facilities where it has been implemented?
Yes. So when it comes to worker satisfaction and engagement, really the two things that come to mind are work-life balance, and also in the cases where workers are paid by performance, those are really, really good KPIs or metrics to keep track of when you're implementing assisted reality. We have personally seen assisted reality aid in the work-life balance, and that's something that's really important, especially nowadays, right? So because if I'm a field service engineer and I've been traveling 75% of the time, then being able to reduce that by half, and now I'm only traveling 25% of the time, is huge, right? My work-life balance now has considerably gotten better. So that's one thing that it really can help with worker retention, employee retention. And then the other one is in the cases where you are paying workers based on performance, based on how many maybe PMs they can do in a week, or how much production or inspections that they do, then really assisted reality allows them to be more efficient and effective on their work and just higher productivity, and therefore they're getting paid more. So they're very happy with that. And we've seen that at several facilities where it really helps with the implementation of assisted reality when you have these kind of incentives and when you show clear evidence to workers that, hey, by doing this, you are faster. It's easier to work. You'll be faster. You'll have better work-life balance, and you'll be able to earn more. Next question.
Okay, our next question. Are there any regulatory or compliance concerns related to the use of assisted reality in manufacturing, and how are these addressed?
So some regulatory issues that we've ran into is certain facilities will not allow, say, the camera on site. These are very few and far between. And usually what we do is we will disable the camera, or you can actually put like a little cap on the camera to actually be able to, keep with whatever policies are internal to your facility. That's one thing. Also, when it comes to compliance and in general regulations, the assisted reality can really help you with that if we're talking about, making sure that people are wearing PPE or doing things correctly. Then it can really assisted reality can be used to enforce whatever regulations or whatever compliance concerns you might have. So we can actually use them as a tool to enforce those things.
All right, our next one here. How does the use of assisted reality affect worker safety? And have you seen a reduction in incidents or injuries in facilities where it has been implemented?
Yes, great. So yeah, one of the biggest use cases using assisted reality is in lockout tagout, which is directly related to safety. So when we're doing a maintenance procedure, as part of that maintenance procedure, if we have lockout tagout instructions, so if my expert or as I as an expert created lockout tagout procedures for my equipment, then that ensures that my worker, my maintenance technician, is keeping up with those safety regulations. So that's a really, really great question. Safety is top of mind, of course. And additionally, if I have an expert that's basically there with me and has had a lot of experience, they also have experience on what to do and what not to do when it comes to safety. So they can be not only creating work instructions with lockout, tagout, and safety in mind, but also be there for you over your shoulder, ensuring that you're doing things properly. Additionally, you can work into your work instructions the requirement for PPE, for personal protective equipment, making sure that the person is wearing the correct stuff. right? So before you start any work instruction or any PM instruction or calibration, you ensure that the person's wearing the proper PPE and making them basically certify that they're doing it correctly. Next question.
All right, thank you, Javier. So next question here. Can you discuss any future developments or advancements in assisted reality technology that are expected to have a significant impact on manufacturing?
Yes, yes. And being the head geek, I love talking about what the advancements are in our roadmap. I can tell you of two things specifically that we are working on that are on the roadmap, one of which is actually about 3 or 4 months away. So that is basically natural language searching, right? So we probably all heard of AI and OpenAI and ChatGPT and how all that works. For us, that simply means that I can have voice activated natural language searching. So that means that I can put on my smart glasses and I can basically ask the glasses that what I'm looking for, right? So I am looking for a calibration instruction for a Mettler Toledo load cell, and it's going to basically search that information based on natural language, and it's going to come back and say, you have 3 experts that are available tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., and you have 2 instructions that are already available for you. Would you like me to download these instructions? So basically really shortening the path to and making it even easier to search through the platform. That's one of the things that we're implementing is AI. Or AI style natural language searching. The other one is really being able to access information that is also part of AI, but it's basically building a data set where experts are feeding that data set information about expertise. And of course, as an expert, you are being compensated to do this. But basically that gives us the ability to search through the database and being able to kind of put together expert advice without having the expert live, but still compensating the expert. So those are basically the 2 things that we are currently working on. And of course, the other thing that's really important is that in terms of the hardware, there's all kinds of new form factors that are coming up. One of the ones that's most exciting that's coming up in the near future is what's known as the Apple Glass. And once that, of course, the Apple Glass hits, then of course that's going to allow us to have a different form factor that's likely a great form factor for this type of work because we expect it to be very comfortable. But really, that's the limitations in assisted reality and augmented reality now it's the hardware that's the issue right now. Great question. Thank you.
Okay, just a reminder for our attendees, if you have a question today, you can place it into the window and click submit. We will do our best to get through as many of them as we can. So Javier, the next one here. How many manufacturing facilities and OEMs are currently using assisted reality in this manner?
Okay, yeah, so that one's a little bit tougher to come up with. Great question, though. OEMs, machine builders, panel builders, a lot of them are implementing some kind of assisted reality. Most of them are implementing it in this fashion. So basically, if I am a machine builder, I am implementing assisted reality by giving glasses to my field service engineers, and they still travel, but now they have access to my experts that are back at my headquarters. So my engineers are traveling to the customer site to fix something, which means that the customers are already still waiting for that traveling engineer to arrive. And then once that travel engineer arrives, maybe it's a junior person and they don't quite know every single detail about the equipment. So they get a hold of, let's call it tier 4 support from the headquarters. So those are the ones that we see a lot of. What we're trying to do is push that a little further to the actual customer, to the actual end user, to the very edge of the people that actually need the knowledge. And that way that we can offer that knowledge very quickly. So those are the ones that we see the most, and I don't have an exact number. I can tell you that on our platform, there are several that are using it with their end customer, right? So not with the field service engineers, but actually giving smart glasses to the end customer and allowing their customers to do their searches on the knowledge place.
All right, we've got time for a couple more questions. This next person is asking, can independent experts join the knowledge place? What's the expected monthly income from offering services on your platform?
That's an easy yes. That's an easy yes, right? The caveat with that is that experts have to be, you have to request to be an expert. Experts are vetted and typically interviewed, unless, of course, you received an invite. And it's originally by invite only to become an expert. And what's the expected monthly income from offering services on your platform? Yeah. So basically, it's all about how you set yourself up. So if you are, maybe using it as a side gig, a side hustle, as they say nowadays, and you are working, let's say 3 to 5 hours a week, only, after hours, you can probably expect to be making probably less than 500 in a month, 500 to 1,000. But it really becomes a limitation of how much time you have to offer up to the platform and to your potential customers on the platform. If you are doing more than that, 10 hours, 20 hours, 40 hours a week, then really the sky's the limit. But we expect most people to be on the platform 5 to 10 hours a week, and the revenue expectations or how much money you'll make as an expert is around $1,000 is what we expect. And of course, as more people, more experts get onboarded, then we'll have a lot better visibility into what to expect there. And of course, the disclosure of everybody's results are going to vary, right? It really depends on your efforts and how much time you're actually dedicating to the platform, how many assisted reality work instructions you are creating, and if the expertise that you are offering is in high demand. So all those caveats to take in, make sure you keep those in mind. Next question.
All right, thank you so much, Javier. Now, this is going to be our last question for today. As I've mentioned a few times, if you have a question for Javier, go ahead and place it in that window, click submit, and we will get back to you following today's webinar. All right, so our last one for today, my invitation has expired. Can you send me a new one?
Yeah, so absolutely. Yeah, and apologies if it expired. We did put limitations on the invites. So we'll be glad. Please reach out to us. We will send you a new invite. And apologies if the time frame was a little too short. And that's good feedback. That's great feedback. So that's something that we can discuss, and maybe we make that expiration a little bit longer. But yeah, we're happy to send you a new one.
All right, Javier, thank you so much for that last answer. And we are going to wrap things up right there. I want to say a huge thank you to Javier for giving such a great presentation and for answering some of our attendees' questions. So Javier, thank you.
Thank you very much for spending an hour with us. Really appreciate it. Again, what we're trying to build is something that's pretty new to the industry. We're really kind of blazing a trail here. We definitely need and want you to be on board. Please, send us an email. Let's get you onboarded as an expert. Let's get you onboarded as a maintenance technician. I think together we can really figure out how to solve this maintenance knowledge equipment problem that we're having industry-wide. And I think that we can work together and really make this happen. Again, I'm Javier. I'm a co-founder and the head geek here. If you have any technology questions, I'm the person to reach out to. There's our website, newforge.pro. That's newforge.pro. You can also reach us at info@newforge.pro. And you can always find us on LinkedIn at NewForge Tech is our LinkedIn page. Please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much for spending the time with us, and I hope you have a great weekend.
All right, thank you so much, Javier. And a huge thank you to our audience members for being part of this webinar event. Take care, and we will speak with you soon.